Today, our passage from the book of Acts is Acts chapter 14, verses 8 through 28. And there is a lot going on in these verses. There are many different things we could highlight. But what I want to focus on is Paul's response to how the crowds are responding to them. They are in a city called Lystra, and they come in, and Paul heals somebody. A man jumps up, he begins to walk. The crowd see it. Immediately there's an uproar. They begin to call Barnabas Zeus and Paul Hermes because he was the chief speaker. And the Greek pantheon of gods, you may recall that Hermes is the messenger of the gods, and Zeus is the highest of all the Greek gods. And then the priest of Zeus, whose temple was just outside the city, brought oxen and garlands to the gates, and he and the crowds wanted to offer a sacrifice. When Barnabas and Paul heard of it, they tore their clothes and rushed out into the crowd shouting. And verse 15 is our verse for today. Friends, why are you doing this? We are mortals just like you. And we bring you good news that you should turn from these worthless things to the living God who made the heaven and the earth and the sea and all that is in them. Now, if you think back just a couple chapters ago when we were in chapter 12 and we heard about Herod, who, because he didn't give glory to God, was immediately struck down and eaten by worms and died. And so we saw the cost of arrogant pride with Herod, and here we see what godly humility looks like. Barnabas and Saul don't take any credit for themselves. They don't say, look how wonderful we are. Rather, they tear their clothes. They don't want them offering sacrifices to them. We're just people like you are. But we are here to encourage you to turn from these worthless things to the God who made heaven and earth and sea and everything that is in them. And they go on to say a little bit more, and they still, we're told, scarcely restrain the crowds from offering sacrifice to them. But then some of their Jewish opponents came from Antioch and Iconium. They went over the crowds, and shockingly, we go in this huge swing, which tells you how a mob mentality can change very quickly from praise to violence. They go from coming to offer sacrifices to Paul and Barnabas like they're gods to taking them out, and they stoned Paul and dragged him out of the city, supposing that he was dead. Human beings can be very fickle, and praise can turn to violence very quickly. And yet, through it all, Paul and Barnabas show very godly humility in always directing people not to themselves but to God, and they are so devoted that the next day, after the disciples had surrounded the badly injured Paul, he got up, he went into the city, and he went on with Barnabas to Derbe. He is not deterred, even by an attempted murder attempt. Incredible faithfulness, incredible humility.